Hi, everybody. So today it's Abby and Z and me, and we're going to talk about some of the things that we talk about in Bridging Higher Consciousness. But one of the things we want to bring up today is we are graduating. We're going through a graduation period, and the end of the Kali Yuga, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, is like a marker. So, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's really exciting for one thing. So the
Yes.
Kali Yuga it's an ending cycle, it's a death cycle. It's supposed to get like industrialization out of there and certain shadows that we've had for a very, very long time closed. And so that we could shift into a different perspective. And that's really what we're looking at right now. We really are graduating in a massive way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead,
All
Abby.
I know is, I mean, I don't name energies. I don't know what it is, but I feel like something's finished and something's beginning. It really feels like I've got more energy to invest, and that these patterns that I really couldn't shift but don't want anymore are actually going now, like really properly going. And everything feels new.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they turn the page and it's not just a new chapter, but it's the beginning of a new part, like in a book when it's part one and part two and part three. So is that kind of what you mean? Is that the kind of thing you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're like flipping into a whole new, it could be the middle of the trilogy where we're at, you know. Abby has a trilogy. So it feels like the middle of a trilogy to me. And this is the part where we learn and we decide what our third book is going to be.
Okay, so
So
we're
yeah.
building the bones of the next part, but we're not quite out of the old part, but yeah, okay. So we're still in an in-between place. That's kind of what you mean, yeah?
I think we're still letting go of some stuff. Not everybody has let go. And it depends. There's going to be some time for people to let go. But we're in that point where some people are beginning their graduation. And as they graduate, just think like there's another class coming up right behind it. So you're a senior, you graduated high school, and the 11th grade is now going into being a senior. So it's a really beautiful time right now.
It's very beautiful. It can be a little bit jarring or confusing at first because that graduation level is centering us into full creation. We are creating per moment, and that's really what the universe is getting us into. So the ability to let go, and we are in levels right now. So that graduating level and it's going to continue and continue and continue. But for some of us who are on that graduating level past this Kali Yuga, and it's infinite, so it's going to keep shifting as we go. So that's why I say, like, in perspective, like the Kali Yuga and timing, kind of makes me laugh a little bit because for me, it's like that's not even current. That's not even here.
Yep.
What I feel through that period is that there are levels of graduates who are still acknowledging that that's a cycle and now are ready to look past that point, and those who are still going to be looking at that as a cycle are still going to be looking at that, and that's why it's the circle, and that circle goes into the Kali Yuga, which we just stopped at, and shifting out of that, and there's another circle that's higher than that overlaps that, and we
Mm-hmm.
continue up in that structure, and the universe it's really pushing us to look at an entirely new perspective, period, something that is never ever seen before in the entirety of the universe and how we create.
That's really interesting, see, because when you finished the senior class of whether you're in school or in university and you're finished, it's like, where do you go to next? And for me, it's felt like they've just built a whole new building with a whole new library and all new laboratories where and we've been looking at it. And it's like, can we go in yet? Can we go in yet? Can we go in now? Then they open it and they're letting us in there now. That's kind of how I've been feeling
Mm-hmm.
because for a long time I haven't been interested in growth. And I've just been kind of swinging around, doing my thing, going, why am I doing this? And then suddenly, wham, here's all these new things that you can now try. And it's like an activation of interest coming back in, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Optimism, hope,
Yes.
joy, all of those frequencies that we've kind of been stuck in as humans for a while in humanity.
Mhm.
So, and that being said too, a lot of us are like, I don't actually know what that is because we haven't had a platform for it. We haven't felt it for a very long time. So it's like, what is all of this? And it's really to keep it in a curiosity state, in an adventure state. Like, okay, cool. Like, this is new. And if you continue up with that, this is an adventure and this is new. What do I want to try with that? How do I want that to feel? So really it's getting centered into like, what does creation actually feel like to me? What does it look like? How do I move with it? How do I actually let adventure and joy and curiosity and play and creativity into my existence?
Yes. Yes. I keep thinking about the spiral and how to describe it. And do you guys remember the slinky?
Mhm.
Huh.
So like it's like the slinky, you've got part of it in your hand and part of it on the ground. And all of that in between is a spiral going up further and further to your hand. And we're climbing up the spiral right now. And sometimes we're shooting up the spiral. But it's just such a beautiful time because we're learning exponentially. And as we come together, because we are all one, we're sparking each other and we're learning from each other. And even if somebody is sparking you and you take off with it in a different way, that's still yourself sparking yourself. Like it's an amazing time. And I think knowing that and being kind to each other, because you don't want to yell at yourself, and then learning how to be kind to yourself, and then also stepping into joy. These are such fun things right now that are changing everything. Yeah.
Really interesting the way you've put that, because I've been working with quite a few people at the moment, and one of the things that I was just working with was this woman who's experiencing all these heavy, difficult feelings again as her pattern: jealousy, regret, and fear. And I just saw her there on your spiral coming back around.
Mhm.
And she's feeling, oh, I'm back around to this again. But when I was speaking with her, it's like, no, but this is a different level of this.
Mhm.
So she's coming back around the slinky spiral, and there's her mother and her sister, but she's on the next level up. What came up very strongly was she has to grieve those relationships, because the next time she comes back around, they're going to be separate levels, because the sister and the mother aren't doing the work the way she is, and
Mhm.
so she's going to be leaving them behind in that spiral, even though that they were still on the same spiral. And so the way to do it is to just forgive them, because of your expectation that they're with you is what the hardest thing is, and to see them for who they are, and that they're not going to go all the way around and be with you on the same level necessarily. And then you can love them and be with them for who they are, instead of having to drag them kicking and screaming, because we don't do that now. And then the freedom and the joy comes in when realizing that you're free of the pattern, and you're free of needing to carry people, and that you can just keep going in different levels of the spiral, and we're still connected. It's beautiful. So yeah, so that's a really, because thinking in 3D and 4D and 5D, we're learning how to do that too, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful thing to bring up, like you said, the expectation part of it. Because right now it really is no expectations on how things are going to look, how they're going to feel. That is pure creation. And even though we are shifting up in our spirals, we do still see our family. It's just that there's no correlation to what they're going through. You're not going to be feeling it the same way. You can have a relationship with them and honor where they're at with that, and it won't be the same pull back into that same situation. And that's with evolution in general. When we go back around to those cycles and we're like, oh my gosh, it's happening again, it's really to stop and be like, it really can't. That's really not how evolution works. It's just another reminder of like, oh, is there anything there that I can learn from that? Or do I practice discernment and I say, no, those lessons are learned. Thank you, universe. I'm going to keep going up my spiral.
Mhm.
Is this
Mm.
universe will test you like that too. You will test
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
like that. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's the
I,
evolution going around. Like revolution stays on the
Mhm.
same level, goes around, but an evolution is going up.
yeah. And everything's circular. I remember being really little and saying time is circular and not really knowing what that was, but I pulled it through, when I came here, and just knowing that was the right thing. Wow, somebody didn't want me to say that. Or maybe I didn't want me to say that, I don't know. But that was really a cool thing to know that time is not what we think it is. And I'm excited because I feel like we're going to be letting go of time more and more over this year.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was such a beautiful unraveling this last year, towards the end of the
Mhm.
year, was that we as a collective decided that we wanted to break down the construct of time. And that is huge. That is a big construct to work through. So, and it's going to fade more and more where we're just in the knowing. And that is the timing. Oh, we know what to do. We know when to take action. We know what's coming in. And that's to trust that knowing more and to stop looking at the clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think for me, a lot of it has been like, okay, I have this task and I want to get it done in a day
Uh-huh.
and be done. Right. And
100%.
realizing to just let go of that. That's probably been my biggest thing with time just recently.
You try and write a
Yeah.
book with Mark Atwood and get him to send you an edited script by a certain day of time. You just try it.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have different perceptions of time too.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we do.
it's
But you know
really,
what's amazing is trusting that we're working on a different structure now. So it's not that we are wedded to the calendar, but the energies that move through us and the surges and peaks and dives, and whether it's astral and collective or cosmic, I just trust when he's finished with the draft, it'll come to me in the perfect time, and the editor will be available and the artist will have the cover done, and it'll all just fall into place when we're in alignment, rather than, oh my God, it's already January, whatever day it is. And he said he's going to have it before Christmas and it's 3 weeks late now. And why stress out, And it's like, well, we don't have to get anything done by a specific time. The end of the year doesn't feel like it's a big deal anymore because we're just continuing,
Yep.
mhm.
you know?
Yep.
So it's nicer living this way.
It is. It's a lot of stress-free. As long as you're not resisting that aspect in time. It's like I realize that this is going to happen when it's the appropriate time. And so
Yeah.
it's really just dropping the expectation of time, the expectation on yourself, and realizing that those cycles and those circles, they come and they hit at the right time. And when you feel that, and you can feel it right before it happens, and you know that that's going to be exactly what's happening, as long as you're allowing that to happen. That's another thing.
That's what, honey, that's what you were saying before we started, the micro and the macro. When you're aligned in yourself and you're going around that spiral in alignment, then everything lines up. But if you're not and you're hooked into the resistance, the jealousy, like my client's, sister and the mother, they're actually fixed on a fixed point, not releasing it, not being in that flow. And that's the difference between people who are moving with the energies in flow and people who aren't. And you want to graduate, guys, you just got to, open and trust that everything is happening the way it should be and not necessarily the way you want it. Because, you know, if everybody got what they wanted when they wanted it, it's not in alignment and it's not in synchrony with everybody else. So,
No, you also wouldn't learn.
Yeah.
That's a part of that as well.
but they all bashing the head off the brick wall thing, you know, I
Sure,
want it
sure.
now.
Mhm.
And
Well,
also
I
it is
think,
possible.
oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Go
It
ahead.
is possible to have it now too. Once you break down enough constructs to work that piece, that doesn't mean you always have it right now, but it is possible, everybody.
Yeah. Well, and we're receiving stuff on the same day a lot of times now. So that's almost instant.
Uh-huh.
If it was absolutely instant, we haven't learned how to manage our thoughts well enough at this point, because we could be mad at somebody and say, oh, I hope they get arrested. You know, that person that just passed me and honked at me and did all this stuff. You know, like you could be saying that in your head and then all of a sudden they are arrested and maybe they were on the way to the hospital. You know, so really, I think as humans, we haven't totally got it yet as far
But
as
like you,
managing
when you were in
thoughts.
Ireland and the guy driving in front of us was annoying you, he really needs to turn left now. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
maybe he had, and I just said to you in an hour's time, he's like, where the hell am I? Why am I down this road?
Yeah. So, I mean, things just, they're unfolding in a beautiful way right now. It's our attachments that need to be examined and released. And we are basically, one of the things that I was talking about with the micro or the macro and the micro is we are pieces of God source. And we've come out here to learn. We're like feelers, you know, we've come out here to learn. And also, the way we've been learning has been really difficult for us. And I don't believe that source really wants that to continue, that that's changing, and we're all graduating. And the way that we do stuff is going to be totally different and more kind.
To
You
pause for
know,
a second.
if
That was
we
so
if we
beautiful.
look at the spiral at a different way, it's a different shape. And what was coming through for me, and you're talking about us getting information at the same time, was that our brain capacity needs to kind of shift and stretch and open a bit more, because a lot of the concepts that are coming through are more multidimensional and our brain's not used to processing information that's that multidimensional. So we're going through a growth process. So going back to what you said, honey, about us being in the middle book, you know, it's possible that we're sitting here as our brains are growing the capacity to understand what's coming through next. We're just not able to. It'd be like picking up a book in the new library. You know, it's like, what the heck is this? And we just can't read it because we don't have the facilities to do that, but we will have.
Yep, we're gaining them.
We're getting there. Yeah,
Mhm.
we are. And it's really too understanding that all of that multidimensionality and our ascension process is really the fact that we already have all of that. It's already within us. It's already in our vessels are already opening up to it, and we have the capability of reaching on and accessing all of those levels where we're at. It's not that we're going to go anywhere or anything like that. It's just that we understand that it's already right there and we already have it.
Mhm.
Just
And as
remembering.
we do, everything around us starts to change because we create our own reality. So somebody, I shared this on my Telegram this morning, but somebody took a picture of a blue sun over in Europe. And I then went ahead and said, okay, well, we have lots of suns up there that we can't see right now. And think about your chakras and think about the frequencies that we need to go through this graduation period. Someday they're not going to be hidden from us anymore. Not only will we feel them, but we will see them.
Mm.
because they will be expanding our consciousness so much more, and our brains will be able to accept it.
I did a meditation this morning in my Orinoco
Yeah.
that I have, and it's really like being surrounded by all these master beings, and they amplify whatever the intention is. And so I had all this energy whirring around. I thought we need to bring it into the earth, and then we need to go up to this star and up to that one. And it said, no, bring it all into your heart and bring it all back into this moment, because everything that you're doing, you think in your mind that you're going up to do it, but you're doing it here. It's just how your mind is processing. And so everything is right here. We're changing everything here. It's incredible. And all these layers on layers that we're beginning to understand and feel and work with.
Yep.
So yeah.
And all those energies that happened over the last few days, just like manifesting, they're going to start to show up. Like the results of that will start to show up in the physical. And I'm glad there's a slight delay.
Uh-huh.
And that we're in this kind of a universe now, that there
Hey,
is a
quick,
slight delay.
unmake what I just
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it unfolds slower now. Just like the whole solar stuff has unfolded slower than I was expecting. I'm really grateful for it because so many more people are able to handle it. So
Right.
we're going to have people to talk to
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
as we go through this process, because they'll be around.
But
Yeah,
we have our group in our Bridging Higher Consciousness group that we're facilitating that when we talk like this, the three of us, and we accelerate, expansion, because we're comparing notes. And then when we say things like, oh, what are you guys manifesting? And they can share in the signal group that
Mhm.
I've been dipping in and out of some of those messages. And, what's beautiful about that community is how quickly they're helping each other, but knowing that they're supported by us, they're accelerating even more. So I think it's great. So guys watching this, if you want to join us, you can come and join us in our Bridging Higher Consciousness, because if you're still watching this video at this point, then you want to know more. Then because we don't share, we do private videos for members only, and you guys are welcome to join as members. So
Mhm. Yeah, and there's a library as well. So tools are in there for you guys to work on your own stuff. And I think that's where we're going. Like it used to be, everybody was healing other people. And now most of our healing is coming from within ourselves. But having the tools to do those healings is really helpful
Oh,
for
yeah.
us. So that's definitely
Absolutely.
part of that program. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
program.
it's really immersive. It really allows you to feel supported, have a community, have the tools that you're looking for to look deeper into the self, and have the ability to grow knowing that you are actually cared for in that
Mhm.
space. So
it's interesting you say that, honey, because I was talking with Malcolm today. He's the guy that's working with the Orinocos and creating them and bringing them forth. And he was sharing a talk he's about to give to people who want to have Orinocos in their healing studio. And he's basically saying that to facilitate healing for someone else, you have to have done that holding in yourself to then give that space for other people to emulate that. So that's going back to the macro and the micro. So
Mhm.
it's no longer I put my hands on you and I do it for you. I mean, which is something that I never would have done anyway. It's like, let's create this space. It's really coming through to say everybody has their own potential. Everybody's different, and more than ever, particularly around what you were saying earlier, Z, if we're God sparks in experiencing life, then we have to be different to each other. There is no way that God would be receiving what he needed if we were all having the same experience. I mean, what would be the point? So I don't want you to heal the way I want you to heal. You heal the way you need to heal. and we give the space for that. And what I'm learning more and more, and I know you've been on this quest as well, honey, is what resources do I need to give my body so it can heal itself through whatever thing I'm going through right now? And then you're sitting, oh, selenium, why do I need that? I don't know. And my body's been asking for it, didn't need very much. So the body does need resources, our mind needs resources, our soul needs resources, but the healing is coming from within us. It's very powerful. And then to have a witness accelerates it too. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
A witness, somebody who's been through that in the space that we do carry. It's just because we have done so much of our own personal work as well that it is just holding the space for
Even
others.
validation, what you're going through is real and true, and I see you, and it's okay. And it's not lost. It's been written down in the book of you somewhere, and God knows how much trouble you've been through, even though maybe someone else wouldn't understand 100% what it's like to be you. But we are, again, part of God, and God's part of us. And so we're experiencing all of this. It really kind of feels more tangible now that we are all going through this as that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And it makes more sense. And I feel like we knew it, we had the knowledge, but we couldn't actually connect it for a
Right.
long time. And now we're connecting it.
Yeah. There was quite a few really deep cycles that we had to run through in order to get to a point where we had the ability to connect. And our nervous systems had the ability to connect.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just
I
taking
think
a minute to like laugh for a second with the book of you. I'm like, oh my gosh, the book of Z is so big and wild. It's hilarious. And also so very unique. So I had to embrace that for myself for a second and really say to you guys, really embrace the book that you are, because it is extraordinary. It's beautiful. It's unique. It's entirely just you. And you get to work this dynamic and heal the way that is unique to you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing because as you go through the process of the healing, then you discover more and more of yourself and you become more and more whole. And you're like, wow, I did that. So there's another chapter for your book.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun and it gets easier. As you're more honest with yourself, it gets easier to heal and less judgmental with yourself as well. That really needs to go out the window at this point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Being
Mhm.
super vulnerable and being open is really that space too. And I like wake up and I go in my book of Zoriel and I say, what is my page going to be like for today? It's a big game. And that's really what the universe wants this to look like. This is a game. How do we want to play our game for the day? What adventure do we want to experience? And that is fully immersed into our emotions as well, because that is our compass here. That is our growth here. And that is also how we are bridges for everything else in the universe. So really not bypassing any of those emotions, really leading into them and saying, how can I use these now for my game in my book? What would I like to do in my book?
Yeah. It's so
It's
much
beautiful.
fun, you guys. It's just so much
It
fun.
is.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
noticing as well that I'm spending more time in contemplation, more time just being quiet,
mhm.
just emptying. And previously, when I would be like empty, I would always have an urge for something like, oh, I need to eat this, or I need to go there, or I need to do this, and I said, no, can't. But right now, I'm kind of feeling a deeper level of stillness that hasn't been there before. It's really nice. But I suppose in a way, you'd have to work towards getting to that level. Because I said this to my mom and she's like, what do you mean you've got no thoughts going on in your head? I don't believe you. And I go, well, of course it would be very difficult for you to understand what it would be like to not have any thoughts in your mind because you're not arguing with yourself. You're not stuck on something that happened and have to go over and over and over it in your mind, whether it be something that you did to you or someone else did to someone else. No one's doing anything to anybody else. It's just all a bunch of stuff that happened, and then you should be able to just let it go. And that's the work that we do so that we don't have that resistance, so that we're not playing those old records on repeat or telling stories that are keeping us back. We're just in the moment, and then you get that divine inspiration.
Absolutely. And being in the moment is where we want to be. And I would say right now, even the letting go can be a really challenging aspect in humanity. I feel like it's more of an embracing from my perspective of going, hey, look, this happened to me. Look, that's a part of my multidimensionality. As soon as you acknowledge it and you're in your present moment, it shifts really quickly.
Yeah, it really does. I feel like the dialogue too is something that we haven't looked at. Like in your stillness, listen, like be still, but as you speak to someone else, listen to your dialogue. So you have the inner dialogue and the outer dialogue. And a lot of it is not helping us. So thinking about the words that are coming out and the feelings that are attached to them, I feel like that's really important right now too. So yeah, we're doing so good though. Like
We
I'm so
really are.
excited for humanity right now.
Yeah, I think recognizing what's triggering other people or what triggers you. I mean, for me, maybe letting go is not exactly what I would do. I just neutralize. I would neutralize it so that it no longer has a pull on me. And again, yeah, the words are very important.
Yes.
So
They really are, because we haven't learned telepathy just yet. When we do, I feel like it's going to be so much more honest.
you won't be able to
And
hide anything.
yeah, well, you won't be able to hide anything, but also a lot of these words are kind of nefarious. They were created in a way that was meant to skew the truth. And as we gain more and more telepathy, the truth is going to be more and more apparent, no matter what it is you're like exchanging about. So I have telepathy a little bit with the cats, but really not as much with human beings that I know of. Like I do have some, and I'm like, oh, this person needs to talk to me, or there's something going on, that kind of stuff is getting bigger and bigger. But with the cats, like I am saying, this is the picture, and the picture, we're not doing that picture anymore. Usually it's something that they did that I don't want them to do again. So it's just interesting. So one of them peed on the couch, like deliberately. And I was
Not
like,
your new
what are they
couch.
doing? Huh?
The new couch.
The new couch, right? And I
Oh,
looked over and they were doing it. And I was like, what is happening? So they were going through a process right then that they didn't really understand what was going on for them. But as the day went on, I was showing the picture and I was saying, no, we don't do that. That's not how we go to the bathroom. And it never happened again. But I was pretty insistent.
oh. Well, I'm doing this with my dog, and he's just so needy and wanting all the time. And he was in the kitchen. I was watching a movie yesterday with my husband and my son, and I'm like, oh God, he's looking at me again. And my son is like, just don't look at him. And I'm like, I don't even have to look at him. I can feel him. It's just a feeling of need, pulling. I need. It's just too much. So it's a whole new level of empathy and having to create boundaries and figure stuff out. But yeah, I'm noticing it's coming in a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's happening, and it is happening more rapidly than we think it is in some ways. Because telepathy is just your attraction point. It's an understanding that your thoughts, your frequency is attracting the like frequency of somebody else. So if you ever had those conversations with people where you're thinking it and it comes out of somebody else's mouth, that's exactly what that is. And it's really just acknowledging that that is a capability that we have. And it's a beautiful process, and it'll be more and more so that the words are going to be less and less, because we'll just be hitting the frequency, and it's just going to be annoying and understanding. For right now, our words are extraordinarily important because each word carries a frequency. So it's really important to think about what you're saying, how you're saying it, what feelings are coming up when you say it, so that you can keep yourself at a frequency that works for you best, and also attracts the like-minded around you that you want to see in your perspective, and also the unique. So I'm like, throughout the day in my process of telepathy, I'm always looking and feeling around the frequencies, and I'm like, what game do I want to play? Who's going to be a character in my in my game, in my thoughts? And I'll make up a story that way, and it always shows up every single day, and it's quite hilarious. That's a game that I play with telepathy. Uh, I did have one of my parents' dogs passed a couple weeks ago, and I was over at my partner's house, and I woke up and I knew that she was going down because I was with her at night, and I woke up and I just kept saying, "I'm tired and I'm old and I need to rest now." I went right back to my parents' house at the right time and walked in and said the exact same thing, and they were like, "So, she's ready to go now. She's getting really tired." And as soon as I walked in, her body started to crash. She was ready to go. She was just waiting for me to be present. And that was definitely telepathic. It was really massive. So, and that was through verbal. So that's another thing too. Like, watch your words. Like, what is trying to get into contact with you as you are speaking? Because you might find yourself being like, I've never said that before. What is happening? I mean, that's never come out of my mouth before. Why would that happen? And for me, generally, that's because it's a thought form that's coming from another vessel, and it happens to come out of
Yes.
my mouth as a
Mhm.
mirror for consciousness.
Yep. Well, and the way we talk about our bodies and stuff too is really important right now. Because some people have been like in a loop with an illness or, something like that. And it's been hard to let go of, but also the way we talk about it reinstalls things. I don't think we understand the level of programming that the body can like take, and words are programs too. So it's important to be careful.
That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You also find yourself too, as you're increasing your frequency more and more and more, and that energy is coming and the thought forms are coming through you, they are transmuting as they're doing so. And that's coming from other vessels as well. And that's going to occur. And it's not that it's hurting you, it's just going to occur because you're a massive portal for transmutation. So it shifts the energy rather rapidly with whoever you're around, with whoever's vessel you're around. So yeah, be very, very careful and also curious about how your vessel is picking up energy, what thoughts and words are coming out of it, who you're around, how it's affecting you. Because we've like called our bodies like body bags and all kinds of not great things, and they're just like, hey, look, I'm on my ascension pathway here, and this is not happening. This is not going to be working for me anymore. So they're trying to kick it out. That's a part of the purge that just barely happened over the past few days.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more and more I've been feeling, that the collective shift is more important than the individual shift because there are certain individuals are shooting way out far ahead. And so if my body is transmuting here, then that's at some level I've signed up for that. And so to respect that. And then it explains why I'm spending more time in contemplation and meditation because I'm processing what my body's been doing. And what's really interesting is in my human mind, it's like, oh, but I need to be working more. I need to be doing more things. But everything that I would be working for is happening and unfolding with ease and grace. So instead of, bashing my head off the computer for 6 hours, I'm just sitting here for 4 hours and then I do 2 hours work and get 6 hours worth of information, of productivity, say,
Mhm.
which is a different way of being. It's a way of being that we're growing into, I think. It's the being, and then the quality of what comes out is better, and you don't have to try as hard. So
Yeah.
just to be with whatever you're going through and respect and honor the body rather than saying, oh, I need to be doing this. Especially as we're recording this now in January, and this is the week where people, you know, notoriously break the resolutions that they made at the new year, which doesn't work anyway. And then they start feeling terrible because, oh my God, I'm not sticking with what I thought I would do. It's like, we're not made that way anyway, you know?
No.
No,
That's so beautiful, Abby.
it's really beautiful.
Just a way of being.
Yeah, but when time doesn't matter, you know, you can say, okay, I'm in alignment for changing something in my life, and now I'm ready to do it, and then it sticks. That can happen no matter what day it is. You know, if you're not in alignment, it's not going to work.
Right. Taking that time to actually be with it and make sure it's the right frequency. It's really important. So we're starting to get some feedback now. So maybe it's time to wrap it up.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. But I see that spiral is like a staircase. And if you need to sit on a platform and take your time with something, then do it. And get through it. Get through as many layers as you can, and then take the next step.
Yep.
Okay.
So, honey, how can people join us for Bridging Higher Consciousness?
They can hit the link below and they can go ahead and join us. And we would love to have you guys, because I really feel like this is a beautiful container for people to come together. Yep.
And if you're not sure about joining us on our monthly subscription, we're actually going to be offering a healing session at the end of February, where it's open to everybody. Just buy your ticket, come along, and it's low cost. And you get healing from each of us. And I suppose a little ascension update and whatever is needed at the time, a few tweaks and spiritual chiropractor of the soul we can do and a group together. And we're marrying it in with our subscription package. So anyone who is already subscribing to Bridging Higher Consciousness will get it for 50% off. And anybody who comes and is not a subscriber and then wants to subscribe will get 50% off their first month. So because we want you know, dip in, try it out, stay for a month, come back, go away, do whatever feels right for you. But we're here, we're offering this support, and try it and see if it helps. It could accelerate your process. You meet community, like-minded people. And of course, you've got the three of us there as well to support you. So do you want to add anything into that, Z?
No, that feels really complete. That feels really good. And we'd love to see you there, guys. Come in and come play too. It's a joyful place too, and it's a creative place. And I'm just seeking come together in my head. So that's where I was at for a second. I was like, come together. All right. So that's where I'm at. I love you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We're sending you all love. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.